Hello and welcome back to Going Places here at New You Wow, the podcast where we help women achieve epic breakthroughs and celebrate our connections in the community and at home. Today, we are honored to be joined by Joyce Lopez, Market Sales Manager for the Southeast region at Celebrity Cruises. She's actually been in the travel industry 20 years, all of which have been under the Royal Caribbean umbrella. Now, while Joyce started out in air and hotel operations, she spent the last 10 years exclusively in sales, capitalizing on the opportunity to work in the field August 2017 with a focus on generating more meetings, incentive, charters, and events on board celebrity cruise ships. Joyce, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Wonderful. So we always start out with a little bit of an icebreaker. If you could tell our listening audience something about you that very few people know, a little gem.
Something about me that a few people know.
Mm-hmm.
That although for the last 20 years, I've been working for this company and I get in front of people and I talk. I get butterflies in my stomach every single time, but I think it's because I'm so passionate about the brand and conveying the information clearly so that the clients can be as passionate as I am. So I think that's where the butterflies come from.
And butterflies are a good thing. We're all about metamorphosis and change. So thank you, despite having those little butterflies, for joining us today. And I always have to put a plug in as the fashionista that I know you are. Are you wearing those amazing heels today?
I'm always in. I don't know if they're amazing, but I'm always in heels.
So at home,
even from working from home every day, I get dressed. I put my heels on.
That's fabulous.
I gotta be ready just in case somebody calls me for lunch or something.
That's fabulous.
It just makes me feel like I'm ready. I'm on task. I'm dressed and ready to go. I get up, go to the printer in my heels. I come back. When I stop for lunch, it doesn't matter. I'm in my heels all the time as if I were in the office.
Wonderful.
Yeah, for me, it works.
Hey, that's fantastic. Now, I know that you have a tremendous passion for cooking. What is your signature dish? And have you tried any new recipes lately?
So, yes, my signature dish that everybody, when they come out of town, they want me to make for them would be imperial rice. And it's kind of like a Spanish lasagna, if you will. It's yellow rice, sauteed chicken with onions and garlic and a lot of other things. I can't give you the recipe because then people don't come visit me. But, you layer the rice. It's yellow rice, and you put the chicken. A little bit of mayo, chicken, another layer of rice, sweet ham, cheese. And then I garnish it with red peppers all over the top of the cheese, and then I melt it, and everybody loves it. I am proud of my arroz imperial.
Sounds exquisite.
It is really, really great. And then I recently learned this. I don't have it with me, but I got this cold broccoli salad. I got a recipe for it. That has almonds and cranberries, and I'm not a vegetable person per se, but I have been trying to eat better. I've actually I was 212 pounds and I went down to 188, so I'm on a little journey.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so trying to eat a little healthier. So I learned how to do that, and I kind of surprised myself how good it came out. I was very surprised. So I was
Look at that. So
but
always
I do love to cook. I love to cook. That's how I show love, because people come over and I'm like, what would you like to eat? Like, I love it. And, having such a full house all the time, I've always had to cook for my kids and their friends all the time. So, yeah, I love it.
Wonderful. And the fact that it puts a big smile on your face. I always say your cooking's going to turn out great if the first ingredient is love. So
it's always love.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Could you share with us one of your fondest childhood memories?
Well, one of my fondest childhood memories, to tell you the truth, I will say 8 years old.
Okay.
And my parents were out on service. I was raised Jehovah's Witness, so my parents are Jehovah's Witness. And it's my fondest moment because it was a moment, even though I was 8 or 9 years old, I could recognize and feel proud about my parents in a way, like, I can't even explain it to you, but so I'll tell you what the scenario was. We were out in service knocking door to door, and a lady opens the door, and she had about 5 kids behind her, and the little ones were crying. My dad was saying the message, but I was just watching kind of like the chaos, what's going on in the background. Like, I didn't understand it, right? And my dad, and she just told my dad he could come in, and my dad was just giving her a message, and she had the baby with a water, like it was water inside the bottle. And it just seemed so crazy to me. My dad was like very brief. And then we left the house. It was not even 10 minutes, but he left her a tract, and we left the house. And then he told the other brothers that were there that he was going to be right back. I was with him, so I followed him over, and we went to the store, and he bought milk, ham, cheese, bread, juice, like all these things, like groceries. And I still didn't know what was going on. I'm just following along. I didn't ask him anything. And we got to the house, back to the house. And when he did, when he knocked on the door, opened the door, she just started to cry, because even though she didn't say anything, my dad anticipated what was going on, what her situation was. And so, I mean, that kind of was a moment for me, that was like the best example I think my dad could have given me, is just to show me without telling me. Like, he never said a word about it. We never spoke about it. I never asked him, but it was just something that really just touched me. And then in instances like that, I was just more aware now. If somebody needed something, even at a young age, I knew if there was something I could do, that I would try to jump in and help. And that was instilled in me from young, and I think it just made a real big difference for me growing up.
Oh, that's beautiful. You said you were 8 years old at the time?
Yeah, I was about 8 years old, going on 9. Yeah.
And, that lends itself to something I was going to ask a little later, but the timing is perfect as a segue. I have to say, of the many people I've had the pleasure to meet around the world, you rank right at the top as having the largest heart.
Thank you.
You give of yourself constantly. So now you've given us a little bit of background into where that came from and why it's something so important to you. We ask, how do you fill up your proverbial tank when you feel like the needle's approaching E? Like, what do you do to reset with so much giving?
You know what? Sometimes I just think about the text, Psalms 55:22. My grandmother always said Psalms 55:22. When something is so heavy you can't carry it anymore, just give it to the Lord. And so I kind of used to worry before, like a lot, like worry about stuff that had no control, and that kind of made me tired because I felt like I was on E a lot.
Right.
And then, you know what, my grandma said something to me. She said, if you're gonna worry, don't pray, and if you're gonna pray, don't worry.
Wow.
So if you're gonna pray about it, leave it in his hands and let him deal with it. So all I can do, like A.L. Williams says, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough. Once I know that I have done and I have given enough and I can't anymore, then I just gotta kind of, and just so that you know, my word of the day in the beginning of the year, I said, you know what? My word of the day is gonna be no.
Look at that.
And then I said, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no to people, even without explanations. I'm not gonna feel bad about. And then you know what? I changed the word to me, because no is a little, has a little negative connotation, and I'm not a negative person by any means.
Right.
But I changed the word to me because now as I approach things, because I was getting to a point last year where it was like I was doing everything. I don't say no to anybody, and I was just spent. I said, you know what? I'm going to put myself first. So if something is asked of me, and I'm going to analyze it first and see, is this going to make me go overboard? Is this going to, because if I'm not good, I can't give. If I'm not 100%, I can't not even give 1%. So I'm just, this year my mindset has changed a lot, and I'm focusing on saying more no's when I need to, but maybe putting myself first so that I'm able to continue to fill others' cups, but mine has to be full as well.
That is so commendable. And, I think it's because we have that nurturing leaning within us where we're always trying to take care of everyone else. But, it makes me think of when you're on a plane and
Yeah.
you're going through the safety drill and they tell you if something
Sure.
happens and the air pressure is compromised, you have to put your mask on first.
Correct.
Because imagine if you spend your time taking care of everyone else, what's going to happen to you?
Yeah, you have no oxygen. You die.
So
Gosh.
that is so metaphorical and really, really appropriate for life. You have to make sure you're looking out and replenishing. And the more you give, the bigger you grow and the more you can give. It's like that cycle, an ongoing cycle. So
Correct.
I'm so glad that you got to a point where for this year, you're making some new priorities.
Yeah.
You're establishing some new routines so that when you're okay, everyone else can be okay. It's a
And it's
collective.
tough. And it's tough, I'll tell you, because with
Oh,
five
yeah.
children,
Yeah.
my child ages 24 to 14, everybody needs something.
Yeah.
But I've learned to be a little less hands-on and let them kind of do their own thing. I'll guide them. I'm here if you need me, but they're learning to do a lot of the things on their own. And I feel so much better this year since I adopted my word of the year, and it's front and center, and I'm working towards it, and doing more of that so that I don't feel spent. You know.
And given that, because you're much of the reason that I looked into going into the travel arena anyway. You were just having so much fun with it. I have been honored to spend time with you and see you with your family. And I can testify to the fact that you love spending time with them. But as you mentioned, you've got 5 children, and that is a huge age range. So, can you tell us, how do you go about striking a work-life balance, especially during the pandemic?
So, Yvonne, I'll tell you this. Anybody that tells you they got the answer to this question is a liar.
We're all
So
about honesty
there
here.
really listen, there really is no such thing as work-life balance. There's some days that you're gonna work till midnight.
Yeah.
And then there's some days that you gotta recognize that, you know what, I could leave this for tomorrow, and you gotta take a step back and go to that football game and go to that practice and pick up, because those priorities, any job that you have, if you're gone tomorrow, somebody else is gonna replace you.
That is true.
But your children and your family has to be the number one priority. And then there's everything is give and take. So maybe I can't go to this game because I have this big event, but I promise I will make it up to you because I'm at practice all the time. But if I can't make that practice, I'll be at that game, and I'll be there to pick you up. And there's a lot of things that you have to do to work around. But I think communication is key. And I think with my kids, it's always been, they know what I'm doing. I'm not out there playing. I'm out there doing something to provide for them, right? To provide a lifestyle, to provide a roof over their head, to cover them. And so there's always going to be that give and take. Nobody has it down to a science. Some days I feel like I'm winning. Winner, chicken dinner. I did all my job. I finished on time. I cooked and I cleaned and I came to my bed, and I feel great. And then there's some days that 7 p.m. and I'm like, oh, I'm still not finished. I have 3 emails. There's days like that, and you just gotta play jazz. You really do. You gotta play jazz, Yvonne. So I can't tell you I'm an expert in work-life balance, because I'm not. You just have to know when to turn off things, and you have to make, especially time with your family. You gotta turn the phone off. You gotta leave it in your room and walk away, which is something for me that was super difficult.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing it. Now on the weekend, I can just put my phone down, and I'm just, I'm not looking at it. It's whatever. I'm with my son. We go to the park. We go to the beach. I'm not prioritizing that. But again, because I'm in the travel industry, this is an off year because of everything that's going on.
Absolutely.
But otherwise, I'd be doing a lot of shows on weekends and stuff like that, but we're taking advantage. And really, you think about it, sometimes it's like a blessing. We've got to spend more time with our family than we ever have, right? We're still getting a lot of work done, minus the traffic. So there's a lot of things to be thankful for. Some days I feel like I'm working more than when I was, in.
Oh, yeah.
But it's great because we're all going through the same thing together, and again, I don't have the answers, but I think some days I'm winning, and the days that I'm not, I learn to forgive myself for not being, having it down packed. So.
And I think that's vital. If you beat yourself up for what you think you should be doing,
right,
you can't see the beauty of what you are accomplishing.
correct.
And, the thing too is no one knew 3 years ago that there'd be a pandemic. And
Right.
no one has been, able to escape it. Every single individual has been impacted in some way. But it's about being a queen of silver linings. Like you said, technically, you're spending more time at home. You're able to be around the children more. So now you start capitalizing on that. Like, wow, what can we do differently to make what could be a very bad situation
Right.
better, easier to deal with? So you make a lot of great points on that. Now, I am curious, what led to your decision in the first place to pursue a career in travel? Why travel?
So I'll tell you this, Yvonne. I came from very humble beginnings. I mean, it's 8 of us.
Yeah.
4 girls, 4 boys.
Wow.
My dad came to this country for an opportunity, and he's worked hard all his life. He always, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, and he worked hard. He was a welder by trade. My mom was a cross guard. When I tell you ends meeting, my mom, she would make it happen.
All right.
We had an uncle, if we had an assembly or something where we had to dress up fancy, she would have an uncle buy us the dresses, and then she would take $10 from the food money and pay him. I mean, she did whatever she had to do. We always looked good. We didn't have everything, but we had everything that we needed. And we always grew up with that we always had just enough, and just enough is okay. That's how my dad's interests were always the kingdom, and always, God's things first, put God's things first. And that's how he raised us. And it was a great upbringing. We learned to be humble above all things, and to help people, and to give of the little that you have. And we shared everything. And, I think that's helped me become who I am today. Even with my travel partners, I love over them. I mean, any of them could tell you, especially with this pandemic, we had agents that had to close down their shop. I volunteered to help them, move their stuff. I don't have a problem with that. If they want to do a presentation, or they need help, I'm there because I really love people, and that's the God's honest truth. So, it's who I am to the core, but it's because I watch my parents, I watch my mom help people. My mom, she would always volunteer to help pick up other people's kids in our block if the moms were working, and she was, and she just had a great network of, parents in the neighborhood. Some people used to walk, and she would give them rides, and just, a lot of things that just, you grow up and you're watching it, but you don't know. It's just growing in your subconscious mind. And then it's so funny because my mom, I used to be like, oh my God, every time we went to Winn-Dixie, it's like 12 coupons for everybody. We didn't buy one thing without a coupon.
Never.
Yvonne, and it was not like automatic. When that girl used to see my mom coming through the line, she was like, oh God, my mom was the original coupon. Okay?
Excellent.
Each coupon? Oh gosh. I was embarrassed. I'm like, man, the girl's gonna she would see my mom. Everybody was like, oh, everything in that buggy had a coupon.
That's how it should be. I mean, with the markup, that's how it should be.
She was winning back then. And you know what? Even my mom, I saw her do one thing one time. It was hot, and we had to. My mom found $100 in the parking lot of Winn-Dixie. Okay.
Whoa.
We stood for an hour outside of Winn-Dixie because my mom was waiting for somebody to come that was looking like they lost something, so that she could ask them if they lost it, so she had their money. And sure enough, a lady's like frantic. She's like, my mom's like, is everything okay? She's like, I dropped my money. I dropped $100. It's my grocery money. My mom's like, here it is. We were there for an hour. Phenomenal. And in my mind, I'm like, we need that $100. But we need the $100, Mom. There's like things like that you don't, in that moment, but God, I had great parents. I have honest people people, loving, good people that help other people, and it was a great base, for the person that I've become today, and loving people and caring for them. And I had great examples. I really did.
And I'm glad you resonate on that because, I've also had the honor to meet your parents, your grandma. A lot of times.
My grandma, she just turned 89 years old. She's the best.
And she looks marvelous. What's great is, realizing that our parents, our grands, they're our foundation, They're like the soil that we grow from. And, you're right. When we're children, we don't understand that all these experiences are accumulating and you're learning from the book of life, because there's things. Oh, you did?
Complain with my mom. I'm like, Mom, why do you got to talk to everybody? She like the rule that they teach you in sales, like the 2 feet rule. If somebody's going, you prospect, like those. I learned that a long time ago. My mom is a prospecting queen.
Great.
Like she's like, oh, you see how much the prices are gone up, and then she just like start talking about, I'm like, can we go? Like, I gotta talk to everybody, and then I'm that person. I'm her. Yeah. I talk to everybody. My kids look at me and like, why you gotta talk to? I don't know.
You can't help it. It's in your DNA. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to share this video and like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at @NewYouWow. Until next time, stand tall in your power and remember, your belief in yourself is your superpower.